My name is Jim Stanger, and I am 68 years old. I took my first lesson when I was 17, and I flew for the airlines until the age retirement became a factor. So under federal law, you have to retire when you're 65, so I retired when I was 65.
Yeah.
What drew me to aviation.
Yeah.
So I just always had a fascination with it. At the time, it was just fun to go to the airport, see what was going on. And various airports, some of those airports had general aviation airplanes, as we know it, were a smaller airplane. Although I've since learned that general aviation encompasses a whole realm of different things.
Aviation.
My fondest memory in aviation, I just enjoyed aviation because, in essence, it boils down to a form of transportation. So the idea that I could go to places and be paid to go to places I would have never been able to afford or had the time to do in my life as a career is a fond memory. Just visiting all the continents and the various major cities of the world. What challenges did I face to become a commercial pilot? First off, in my immediate family, my parents had never graduated from college, and so they didn't know how to go about getting into a college. And so I needed to find out about that. And the reason I wanted to go to college was because I found out through my own investigation or research, what does it take to become a commercial airline pilot? So I went to wrote at the time, for the internet, I was writing letters to various airlines asking them what were their requirements to become a pilot. And they all had an information sheet that would be sent back. And all of them required a 4-year degree, an engineering degree. And I said, well, then that's what I need to do. So how do you do that? And then when I was in high school, the teachers there and the counselors all knew about colleges and how to get in, but they knew nothing about aviation. And the fact that I wore glasses was a hurdle in their opinion. But that was only their opinion, because when I actually found out, the glasses were not a factor. And so that was the idea of finding out what do you need to do. Well, you get a degree. I thought that I needed an aviation degree or an aeronautical engineering degree, and to come to find out I didn't. But that's what I majored in. What would I say to someone wanting to get into aviation? I'd say, hello. It's not something that you necessarily convince someone to go into.
Yeah.
As I said, you had to get a degree, for example. There were a lot of elements that go into getting a college degree that are not aviation related. And so as a result, you ask yourself, why are you taking this course? Well, the idea is that it leads you further down the path of your ultimate goal.
Nice.
So you can help the person by instilling some kind of self-faith in them or encouragement, but it's not something that you just tell someone you're going to do, because there's too many challenges along the way for someone that really doesn't have an interest. When I was in high school and knowing I wanted to get into college and talking to various teachers and all, everyone suggested I go into medicine. And I always pushed that to the side, because they said, you can do whatever you want to do. And I said, well, in that case, I want to be a pilot. So, well, no, you really should go into medicine. So I have since learned that my thought of what is medicine is not what I initially thought, because there are so many different fields of medicine that you can go into. that's certainly not a compartmentalized career.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not a single subject.
That's correct. Okay. By the same token, neither is a pilot. And so there were a lot of people that didn't know about aviation that were trying to offer their opinions as to what would be a good career field to choose from. So there's a whole spectrum out there, and it was just a choice. But when I made the choice, I stuck with it, and the idea was that you can't stick with it blindly, where you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, forget what everybody else says, because at some point maybe you're making a mistake, but as long as you're making progress and going through the various criteria that make a qualification to become a pilot, those are the things that will advance your career path.